Good evening. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Wilson Ochuka. President William Ruto is asking Gen Z protesters not to burn their country in what appeared to be a departure from his usually abrasive style. The president seemingly implored protesters to become part of the solution, saying they were sending the country down a dangerous path where there would be no country. He blamed the protests on opponents who he said wanted power at all costs. The president termed the protests on Wednesday as calculated chaos and economic sabotage. He was addressing Wednesday's June 25th anniversary protests that resulted in the deaths of more than 15 people, left hundreds injured, and led to the destruction of millions of shillings in property. Brenda Wanga reports.
2 days after the capital, Nairobi, and towns in more than 20 other counties witnessed protests that turned violent and deadly, the head of state now says what was witnessed wasn't about the constitutional freedoms, but rather a product of malice fueled by anarchy, disorder, and what he says was economic sabotage and hate.
If you hate the leaders, I want to tell you, hate brings conflict. Conflict brings violence. Violence is not a solution to unemployment, is not a solution to any of the challenges that Kenya is facing. So, if your strategy is anchored on hate for other people, for leaders, how are you going to provide a solution for our nation?
Aside from demanding justice for victims of police brutality and extrajudicial killings, the protesters have also been demanding for the removal of the Kenya Kwanza government, taunting the president with a one-term presidency. The president directly addressed these demands, asserting the constitutional framework of leadership.
Terms are limited. You can either be one term, you can be two term. Maximum. You cannot have more than that. So what is this craze about terms? The Constitution already provides for those terms. So please, let us look for the solutions of our challenges. And solutions cannot be found in terms. Solutions are found in strategy and a plan. And if it is Ruto must go, tell me how you want me to go. What? You know, I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. What do you mean? What do you mean by Ruto must go? How do I go?
Ruto telling his opponents to face him through constitutional means and not through the protests and demonstrations that have been witnessed in the recent past.
You know, I can also go and concentrate on farming and help in food security, you know, if you have a better plan. But don't ban the country, for heaven's sake. We don't have another country. And I want to ask the leaders, religious leaders, political leaders, who are encouraging this movement towards violence and chaos and anarchy. What is your plan? So, you're telling these young people to burn the place. You're telling them to cause violence. So that what happens? So that we move to where?
The president expressed his regret over the loss of life and destruction of property in the protests, noting that such acts of hooliganism, as witnessed across parts of the country, pose a real danger of clawing back economic gains for citizens.
I dare ask, do we want to build or do we want to destroy? Do we uphold the law only to exploit its protection, to sow chaos and cripple our economy? Is this what freedom really means? Is it freedom to ban what others have built? Those elements doing this are not fighting for freedom. They are attacking freedom.
The president has consequently ordered the Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, to swiftly probe the protests that turned violent and bring to justice those involved. Brenda Wanga, Citizen TV.
Tonight,